welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls Podcast with your host, Jennifer Loading.
And Brianna Drelas, and we are the Starter Girls.
Where extraordinary decisions produce extraordinary results. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com. And additionally, our other sponsor is Studio Dallas. The Studio Dallas is the best kept secret here in the Dallas podcasting world. If you are looking for a studio with top-notch technology, video and audio recording capabilities, as well as a production team to help make things go smooth, then Studio Dallas is the place to be. You want more information? Be sure you reach out to us at startergirls@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And by the way, head over to startergirls.com with a Z and pick up your free download. We want to help you up-level your decision-making, and we have a special freebie for you there. We also want to keep in touch and support you in your life and business. So head over to startergirls.com and pick that up today.
Yes, ma'am. And we are ready to get this thing going. All right, today's a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, my friends, I am super excited to welcome our guest to the show today, Ejay Cruz. He is a healthcare professional turned entrepreneur. After serving for nearly a decade, Ejay realized his passion for people and networking extended beyond his local community and turned his focus to entrepreneurship and personal development. In addition to a multiple business owner, Ejay is an investor, the host of the top 100 ranked podcast, The Parables. He's a husband and a proud new father. And I took this off your site, Ejay, because I love this little piece on there. It says, with a relentless pursuit of becoming the best version of himself, he aims to be of value and inspire others to pursue their dreams and ambitions by sharing his own journey as it continues to unfold. So welcome to the Starter Girls podcast, Ejay. We are super thrilled to have you here today.
Woo!
Thank you so much. True honor and privilege to be on this podcast. And let me just say real quick, this is awesome. Like,
Thank
again,
you.
I was sharing with the host earlier for you guys listening. As a podcast host, it's always good to be on the other side. And I'm always very, observational and just seeing the little details and with other people's shows. And I got to say, Starter Girls is amazing. I love everything about it. So thank you so much.
Oh, man. Feeling warm and fuzzy
Yes,
after that.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We try. Look, it's all about the experience. We try to make Starter Girls an experience. We want you to have fun when you're here. That's what it's all about. Like I say all the time, if the guests walk out of here and they have a great time, that's what it's all about. Right?
Absolutely. It's the same thing too. I always tell people when I have people on my podcast, I treat it like a restaurant. I want people with a full-blown experience. They're talking about it. They have the best time of their life. And so, yeah, I feel you on that.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to jump into this because I want to talk about you. That's what this is about. We want to talk about this extraordinary thing that you're doing here because you came from, a different area, moved into this entrepreneurship, and now you've got this amazing podcast. And I went on your site and I'm looking at all these things you've got going on. So what I want to know, tell us a little bit about how this kind of evolved for you, how you came from this, in this healthcare field and sort of moved into this other space.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't, it's very interesting. So, obviously I'm American, but my background or my cultural background, I am Filipino, right? And Filipinos, they tend to go towards a professional route, especially in the healthcare field. So if I could keep it very, very simple and short terms is, I was bribed, right? And kind of molded into the healthcare profession, being that my mom is a registered nurse. Both my oldest sisters are registered nurses. I think my aunt and uncles, a few of them are registered nurses, right? So we're all just in that realm. And so at the time when I was young and in high school, and I thought I knew what I wanted to do, right? Like a software engineer or just whatever, right? My mom came in, was basically like, hey, if you want this car, because at the time I was very involved with school. So I think she just seriously got sick and tired of driving me to school. So she was like, hey, as soon as you can get your driver's permit, I'm going to buy you a used car. Okay. Obviously like which ones that you have your eye on, right? I will get you that car, but guess what? You got to take up nursing, right? None of this engineering stuff. And, me being the young kid at the time, I was like, that was a no brainer for me. I was like, yes, I just want the car. Right. And so kind of got bribed and molded into the field. And, I don't take away anything from it. I've been doing it for 10 years. I was a floor nurse for 7, got into management for about 3 to 4 years. And, I don't take anything away from it. I've learned a lot. It's given me the roof over my head. I was already I became a nurse and was practicing already at age 23. And I was already making 6 figures at the time. Right. So again, I don't take away anything from it. I learned a lot. I've clearly been through a lot of transitions in healthcare. I mean, from the Affordable Care Act to even now the pandemic, right? Seeing all these different changes towards how they focus more on preventative care, right? And so, basically what it came down to, 5 years into a practice, the entrepreneur blood and spirit just couldn't be contained no more. That's the honest truth, right? I was actually pursuing and advancing my degree. I was actually more than halfway done with my family nurse practitioner degree. And, I walked into clinicals and I finally just asked myself, EJ, what are you doing? You already know this isn't your passion or your end game. So why do you keep on pursuing it? Right. And so finally, I literally walked out of the clinicals. And I just, I started to really explore what entrepreneurship was, right? I started to do a lot of reading, listening to podcasts, joining a lot of communities and networking events, and just wanted to see what really was out there. And I've always had a background in sales as well. Just kind of like everyone, right? They have that hustler side to them when they were young, whether it's selling Girl Scout cookies or doing lemonade stands. I had my own share of, from selling sneakers to drawings to pogs to trading cards, you name it, right? I've done it all, from Craigslist, OfferUp, all eBay, literally you name it, right? I've done it. And so I always knew I had that kind of business mind in me. I just kind of had to, I guess, dig deep and resummon it, I guess you could say, and bring it back. And eventually, with all my networking and all the relationships I built, a lot of opportunities just started coming my way, right? And I've got myself into the different industries, and right now everything's just been amazing. I cannot tell you, I still practice, just to let everyone know, right? I've cut my hours a lot significantly, and as you said, I am a new father, so of course I have healthcare benefits. I'm just trying to really take advantage of. That's the honest truth, right? But again, yeah, I don't take away anything from it. In fact, I used to treat the hospital like it was my business, right? Because as a manager, I actually would oversee 2 hospitals. So I treated, it as my business, right? That these were my employees, the people I would manage. And so, I just slowly started transitioning it into other business opportunities that I'm in right now. And it's just been a blessing since. I can't say enough. Nursing has given me the life that I've always dreamed of, and let alone what I continue to pursue. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
He said so many great things.
I know.
And I think the whole, the thing that's sticking out with me is it's kind of like what with the podcast that we just released this week, where we were talking about how we go into these careers because we think that's what we're supposed to do. But then we sort of, kind of navigate over here. And I think there's, you said some things that was interesting to me about the whole idea about this background, when you were a kid selling all these things, because I think a lot of us are like that. We share a lot of that, because I joke all the time about how I used to do the same thing. I was always trying to figure out how to make money and how to create things, even if it was these little stupid knitting crafts. I mean, we would think of all kinds of things so that we could be he used the word hustling. I like that word, right? It's a good word. It means you are making things happen. So I think that, when you have that little entrepreneurial spirit in there, and you kind of know who those people are. I mean, there is, I think, accidental things that happen, but I think there is sort of that kind of
innate quality in
that
you.
little, inside there. And one of the tests that I do with my clients actually will test for that, and it goes in and tells you that's an enterprise and quality, which is something you are born with. It's something that people do not have to tell you to be motivated, because you just already kind of have that in there,
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat. I think you kind of hit on some really amazing things there, and you've done some great things.
Absolutely. And I love how you were saying you had to summon that quality. It's like, hey, you've been hiding out for a while. Guess what? It's time to come back up. You know what I mean?
how do they say it in like dating, like rekindling the flame, I guess you could say. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically what I did. I had to dig deep and just kind of
It's
like, hey, come back to me. Let's
amazing.
go.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're
That's
in there.
good.
That's wonderful.
That's so awesome, EJ. So tell us a little bit about this podcast, The Parables. How long have you been doing this? Tell us, because this podcast is like kicking butt here. You're doing amazing things with this. Tell us about it.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, during my entrepreneurial journey when I first started, again, like I said, I have this, kind of, I guess you could say, hustler background of just, trying to basically flip anything I can, right? If I could find something cheap and sell it higher and make a profit off of it, that was usually what I would try to do. And so, obviously, when I was kind of, I guess you could say, soul searching, I really did like the most cliche thing. I literally took a notepad and wrote down, hey, like, what do you love to do? Like, what do you enjoy? Like, what would you do for free? I guess you could say, right? And so I didn't have like anything like very, very special, but the things that I knew that I love was one, I love to meet new people. I love to network, and I just love to have conversations. Like those were like the three things I literally wrote down. And I actually think I still have that paper. And so, when I thought of those three things, I think I was just doing a little research on the web, and podcasting, came about. And I got to tell you again, healthcare professional background, maybe a little bit in sales, but just like I'm sure you too as well. And I don't know your guys' background, but I have no audio engineering background. I don't know anything about this equipment. Like literally till this day, I don't know, and people always laugh when I say this, with podcasting, like my equipment, right? I just know on and off, or like record and stop. Like literally, that's all I know.
It's great.
Okay. So when I was exploring the podcasting world, right, it was a little daunting, of course, right? But I just told myself like, hey, like, these are the three things I know I love to do, right? And let's just see where it goes. And eventually what happened is when I started joining entrepreneur communities, I had a lot of really, really amazing accountability partners. And they were just like, hey, EJ, what this podcast you keep talking about that you can't stop talking about, give us the date you're going to launch this thing. And I was like, holy crap. Right.
Yeah.
So I gave him a date, and I just got so sick and tired of kind of like procrastinating. You know how we do this, right? We procrastinate, we have a little doubt, we have like that inner I don't know if I could cuss on here, but that
You
inner
can do
B-word
whatever. It's all
voice.
good.
Okay, that inner bitch voice that's kind of like, again,
good.
making you hesitate and giving you some doubt. And I just got sick of it and just like, no, I'm just gonna do this, right? And so eventually it'll launch. And initially, what I want to do was really kind of like this: just have some real organic coffee-like conversations, and just tell me a little about yourself and kind of what's led you to today, like exactly what you're doing, right? So initially, I wanted to start off with friends and buddies, and that eventually started. It started taking off, right? I was like, oh wow, like I'm actually getting some listeners, right? And then I started, seeking out other people who were doing some amazing things, whether it's in their community or in their industry, right? And I've been able to have some of the most remarkable people in the world, right? Like literally start, come to my, and it's crazy because I actually host it in my home. Like this is my studio. It's like it's a guest room. It used to be a guest room.
I love
And
it, by the way.
transformed it. Thank you. Yeah, and like again, like I don't know how I persuaded these people to come over and record here, almost like I guess like Joe Rogan, right? And so what I quickly found too was like it was just amazing because people need a voice, right? And some people I feel are overlooked or don't have that platform, and that's what I think the parables has allowed people to do. So instead of again, I like, don't get me wrong, I would love to have The Rock on here, Kevin Hart, and all these people in the public eye, right? But I've had some remarkable people who are doing some amazing things within their community or contributing to society who are not known, right? They don't have a big following. They've never spoken about their story, right? And just to have these different walks of life, it's been a true blessing. And what this podcast has done as well, and my network has skyrocketed like crazy. And it's actually been like almost like I was empowered to become this resourceful person, because when I would have a guest, right, and I had another guest, like all of a sudden they'd be like hitting me up like, hey EJ, I just saw that one person on your podcast. Hey, can you link me up? Because I think like we could help each other. So all of a sudden I'm like this plug or this connector of people, right? And it just falls in line with, again, what I love to do. I love networking. So that's really what the podcast is about. I just love to bring on people and just have like friendly conversations about kind of their story and what they do, and where it's led to them today, right? And it's been amazing. Podcasting has really changed not only like my networking, but also just kind of the trajectory in regards to the different opportunities out there. Like you have to imagine, right? When you hear these stories of people and some of the remarkable things they've done, it's given me, it's expanded my vision in regards to like what is out there and what can be accomplished, right? And I want to share that with people. Okay, I really do. And again, like I'm sure you guys wouldn't have experiences too. Like I started getting listeners from countries I didn't even know existed, right? And so I always would tell like my listeners, like, hey, my goal is always make you feel like you are sitting here with us, like you have a chair pulled up and you're in this conversation. So that's kind of how the podcast has came about. Obviously, with COVID, it's slowed down just because I like to do it in person. But I can't wait to really start getting it going again. Podcasting is so much fun. I love it.
Bam!
Oh,
Ejay, you gave me chills.
I know. I was like kind of getting teary-eyed. I can feel your passion.
Yes.
And it's so infectious and beautiful. And I just love how you genuinely want to inspire people. And that's something that we talk about, Jennifer and I talk about so much. It's like, stop living boring lives. Like, get off your butt. Think about what you want out of life and go do it. Like, just go take action. And what you just said, you didn't know anything about podcasting. You're not a tech guy, but you're like, you know what? I'm gonna stop making excuses and I'm just gonna figure it out. And I think that's ultimately what it's about. It's not, we don't always have all the answers, and it's okay. We can take that next best step, right?
Right.
And we can just press forward. And when we screw up or make mistakes, Jennifer loves making mistakes. She talks about it all the time. She's not afraid of it. Then we learn from it and we move on. We try the next thing, whatever that is. So I'm excited. We're so excited to have you, but thank you for sharing that. That was great.
Well, and
Absolutely.
I think,
And
go ahead,
sorry,
Ejay.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So the last thing, like I said, the last thing I ever thought about with this venture was money, right? I told myself like, hey, so when I did the research, I knew there was like monetary opportunities with podcasting, but that was the last thing I was thinking about. Again, I was focusing more on what I love to do, and it just so happens that podcasting is so new, and there's so many different ways to monetize that it actually came a lot quicker than I thought, right? But I just like to remind people like, hey, like, some people just like to look at the monetary value, but you have to remember, like for me, the relationships I built, some of the business ventures that came out of just podcasting that I was able to get involved with, right? Those weren't monetary things, right? Now I have like my networking has blown up. I have lifelong friends, right? I have resources or people I could talk to. Like, again, like you don't have to, money doesn't have to be that tangible thing, right? It could be something else, right? And for me, again, it was the relationships. It was other business opportunities. It was me, again, putting the fire into my passion into this platform. So I just want to, remind everyone that it's so important.
100%. Well, and I think everything that you're saying resonates with me, like every piece of it, because when you're talking about like building the relationships and all of that, I mean, that to me, you said something earlier about the connectors, like somebody comes on your show and there's somebody else. I do a lot of that. Like I'm a connector. And so for me, even when I created it, everything that you said is really everything of why I created the podcast. When I created it, it was about the same thing. It was about bringing people on to tell their story, have a voice, create an experience, let them share their amazingness, whatever that is, whatever they're creating and putting out into the world, so other people can hear how they're living these extraordinary lives just by these little decisions. And you talked about so many things, even like the not knowing how to do the podcast. I mean, I was laughing back here when you were doing that. The camera wasn't on us because I am not a technical person at all. But I have learned how to produce thumbnails and write bios and find great guests. Like I've learned how to do all those things really well. But I had to do them. Like I had to get in there and figure out how to start doing that, But I still don't like the technical stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it.
Yeah, same here. When you bring and I know you guys could relate because we're doing this, right? When you bring that the film into this, right? Because you could just do podcasting audio. I know you guys know that, but when you start bringing the film aspect to it, you just bring a whole new set of problems.
Yes.
Right? And I kid you not, I tell people all the time because I've helped I think about 20 to 25 podcasts get up and running, right? And because again, it's one of my passions. And so I always tell people like every episode I've ran across a problem. And, at the end of the day, you just got to laugh, right? You just got to laugh and just like, again, this is part of the process. This is a learning experience. Again, as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. But like I said, I just know record and stop or on and off, and that's it. I'm not joking. That's all I know.
Turn it off, turn it off. And yes, you do have to laugh at yourself, because I will tell you, I will say, so good. I will say, that's awesome.
so
I
good.
love it. Like, a lot. And I used to joke about this in the beginning, how I would be like, how many times can I say that in one episode? Like, now I make a joke out of it. I'm like, let's go back and let's count them. I'm going to start counting how many times I say it. So you just have to learn to laugh at yourself a little bit. Just have fun with it. I'm like, you know what? Who cares, right? We're having fun. That's what it's about. So.
Yeah, I every time I actually, it's very rare, but every now and then I will listen to my first episode, and man, I just cringe. I'm just like, because I'm like, hey guys, this is Ejay Cruz. So this is the parables. This is what we're gonna talk about. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, it's just so funny though. But when you're able to have that stuff and reflect back, it's just it's funny. It's awesome. So.
I think it shows authenticity. It shows that you have evolved. And I think that's what makes it so neat about it, is that when you can look back at that. And I have done that too, EJ. I have gone back to some of mine and I'm like, oh, I'm going to say that word my kids say. This is so cringy.
Oh, God. I know.
I'm like, this is awful. Like, I did this, and I just like, oh, you just got to laugh about it. It's all good. It's all good.
So, EJ, one of the things that Jennifer just touched upon is that we love to talk about in these podcasts is how we can live extraordinary lives, ordinary people like you and I, like Jennifer and I and you, making extraordinary decisions that really, like you said, changed the trajectory. I love that word. It's my favorite word above pivot. So I kind of want to go back, because I feel like a big decision that you made, an extraordinary decision that you made, was to walk away from that nurse practitioner training that you said you were 2 years into it. Like, when you said that, honestly, only thing I'm thinking of is like, oh my God, the investment. Like, you're just walking away from that investment, the time, energy, financial investment of putting 2 years into that. You're halfway through it or whatever it was. Like, that was an extraordinary decision, and that was very intentional. Like, the fact that you had to make that choice, that would have been a really hard decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, the key word you said there, which is I think huge, and everyone should probably write this down and literally circle it, is being intentional, right? I've been intentional so much in regards to, like, because again, like, it's pretty apparent that I want to leave that hospital life and my nursing career behind me, because again, I want to, evolve, right? And I want to contribute more from my local community and so forth, right? And it's about being intentional. And that decision was hard. I will tell you that, right? And I think every now and then I hear my mom chirping at me like, oh, you should have finished, right? And I'll be honest with you too. I'm like literally almost done paying for that school loan for that degree I never finished, right? But the fact of the matter is I knew that, and it takes courage, right? When you make big decisions like that. So just know it's not easy. But everyone out there who's trying to make a big decision, right? It takes courage, but you just know when you do make that decision, from there, you have to be intentional. You made that decision already, right? So now be intentional with what exactly you're trying to do, right? So when I knew and I made that decision, like, hey, EJ, like, this isn't your end game and this isn't your passion, right? So if you're going to make the decision, what are you going to do after that? What actionable steps are you going to take to start venturing out there and seeing what else is, what else you're trying to get into? And that's exactly what I did. Now, did I have the answers all right away? Absolutely not. And I always tell people, because I think a lot of people fall into this problem, right? And I call this, I have this saying, it's called spiritual suicide, where you basically are, you're working your 9-to-5 job. You're not, enthusiastic no more. Your spirit's kind of dead. And, it's almost like as if you're just aging in your desk, right? If you work at a typical desk job. And so, that's just not who I am. As you guys could tell, I'm high energy. I love to just have fun. And, that's what I was experiencing. And so, sometimes you may not know exactly what that lane is or channel or, your passion or purpose or your next venture. But the thing is, you need to start harnessing what you're good at, your talents, your skills, your passions. And I promise you, from there, it may not be right away, but I promise you will eventually figure it out. You will figure out like, okay, hey, maybe this, maybe let's, for example, maybe this industry, whatever you're looking into, let's say it's tech, right? Maybe tech is not like my passion, but hey, my skills and talents, how can I drive that in that industry, right? And I think people overlook those things, right? And sometimes even for me, some of the things I'm doing right now, some of the industries I'm in, I never thought I would be in them. In fact, I used to dislike them, right? And so, but when I figured out like, hey, let me focus on what I'm good at and what I know I love, and let me focus on that, and maybe I could thrive in this business, right? And so far, it's been working out. So again, I encourage everyone out there. Again, you may not know what it is, but focus on you. Focus on what you love, right? Focus on your skills and talents. Start dabbling into different industries, different opportunities, and see where it takes you from there. Be intentional. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Love it. Thank you. It's great.
So, EJ, real quick before we jump into some fun questions here, I want to ask you because everything you said has been like really good. I've been sitting back here. I'm like, cheers. I'm like, just keep talking, EJ. We're loving it. We're loving it. In your words, how do you define success? What does that look like to you?
Oh man, you know what? To me, that's a hard question. And here's the reason why. I think first off, everyone's definition of success is different. The second thing is everyone's definition of success can change rapidly, right, 100%. Or constantly. For me, that's what happened. That's what it is. Before, I used to think like, hey, success is having a lot of money. Then at one point, I really thought success is financial freedom, which I still think is a big part of it, right? Having that independence and freedom. Right now, in this phase in my life, truthfully, I would say the definition of success to me at this time, and again, it might change in a month, 2 months, maybe a year, is being able to inspire other people, right? I think that's a true, that's just something that's so like if you have that and you could share your story, inspire others, I think that's really what success is. Like leaving a legacy behind. Like if you were to pass away, right? What legacy or what message have you sent to other people, right? Well, when people think of you, right, like what do they think of? That, hey, EJ was an amazing, very positive, high energetic person, right? He was contagious and he always just wanted to do what was best for others. Or EJ was a wonderful husband and father, right? And so to me, that's really what it is being able to inspire others. And again, I want to reemphasize financial freedom and independence is also part of that definition as well. But I would say right now, more of the inspiration.
Absolutely. And I think too, when you're creating the impact and the legacy, I feel like the financial freedom kind of starts flowing with that. It starts when you're working, and all of these things that you've said have been so great about finding, what you love to do, where your talents are. And when you take all that and you're able to serve others with it, that's when I think the financial freedom starts coming into place. It starts happening. You no longer have to chase this stuff. Like success starts happening. It naturally starts happening because you're doing what you're meant to be doing. And I think that's what you're getting to do right now. And that's why it's working so well. We love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Seek fulfillment. Success will follow.
Yes.
It's cool.
Yes. And how is it going with this new baby now? You've got this little teeny baby.
Oh man. So obviously I'm lacking a lot of sleep. I've doubled on my caffeine, right? I will say this, and it's very, very interesting. So, as humans, we are naturally just resilient creatures, right? And so for me, when I lack sleep, this is how I've always been, right? Since I was a kid. When I lack sleep, I'm just very unfunctional. Like like I can't operate. Like I have migraines. Like I really can't concentrate. Like it's bad, right? Clearly with the baby, I have no choice. I do have to stay up. And seriously, like those migraines and all those other effects, like they don't exist no more, right? So even though I am very, very tired, I'm enjoying every second of fatherhood. I love it. I'm learning a lot. Like, how there's that saying that you should always try something new or learn something new every day. I remember like the first 2 weeks, I learned like 10 new things like every day. Right. But yeah, I will say like, it's just, and it kind of just makes me think like, wow, like as again, humans are naturally resilient. So if I could adapt and evolve to this, life-changing event in my life, imagine what else I could adapt to as well. So yeah, fatherhood's been amazing, and I'm loving every second of it.
That's so good. I like
Congratulations.
the learning. Yes, congratulations. The learning every day. There's no manual to parenthood. You just have to learn by doing, right?
That's right.
So this is so good, EJ. So good. Well, I think we need to do some fun questions.
Absolutely.
We got to do a couple fun ones here with you, EJ.
Oh,
So
I'm scared.
No, these will be good. This will be pretty easy for you. So I'm gonna start one. I'm gonna ask you, EJ, what are you reading right now?
Oh man, I am reading. I have this book. So I usually read one book a month. That's like kind of like my goal. I've been kind of lagging on January just because I had my baby. Not gonna lie, but the book I'm finishing up is Atomic Habits by James Clear. So it's basically about about how to develop good habits and how to eliminate bad habits. It's a fantastic book, but that one is the one book I am finishing up right now.
I asked you that question because I know that you're into personal development. So I know if you're in personal development, you're reading something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a fun one. Now, I'm pulling on your Filipino background. My sister-in-law is Filipino, so I get the joy of enjoying her delicious food. So I'm going to ask you, if you were to choose, one or the other, you're going to choose pancit or you're going to choose lumpia?
Oh, man.
I don't even know what those are.
I'm so Americanized, and I guess like when it's like your birthday or like it's a big celebration, you're supposed to eat noodles because that like I guess represents like long life. I never knew that, to be honest. My mom always tells me that though. But to answer your question, definitely the egg rolls, the lumpia. There's just no beating it. And then again, there's variations of the lumpia too, whether it's beef, I don't know, chicken, pork or even like vegetable lumpia, right? So. And then there's like the different sauces too. Usually it's sweet and sour. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. But anyway, yeah, lumpia.
So good, right? She brings it over every occasion.
I'm coming to your house.
And by the way, this is how good her lumpia is. Her name is May. She is now making lumpia. My husband and I own a restaurant in Dallas called Victor Hugo's. She makes her lumpia for my husband to sell at the restaurant. So we do May's lumpia as a special like every other weekend. And it sells out. It sells out the first night.
That is so great.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And it's not a Filipino restaurant, but it's great. People love it.
That is so awesome.
You're like, we might as well just add this in, right?
I'm going to Victor Hugo's to eat some then. And I just learned something new, by the way, because I did not know what that is. So I learned something new today. Every day, right, EJ? Yeah. We learn something new every single day. Okay, last.
It's basically egg rolls. That's all it is. And the more fresh it is and crispy, the better. So.
I like egg rolls. I know what egg rolls are now.
They're thin. They're like thin and longer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, EJ, if you could be any superhero or character for one day, what would you pick?
Oh, man. That's a good one. I'm a big Marvel fan. I'm a huge Marvel comics fan. My favorite character is Spider-Man or Tony Stark, Iron Man. Truthfully, I don't even think Tony Stark and Iron Man is really a superhero, to be honest. But
he's a character.
Awesome.
He's a character.
He's a character, and he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a character, and he's awesome. But I wouldn't necessarily say he has superhuman powers, right? He's just really, really smart.
Yeah.
And he's brilliant. I would say him if that was eligible as an answer. Otherwise, Spider-Man.
Either one works.
Having the senses.
Yeah.
Having the senses and just having the superhuman agility. That would be awesome to have. There's like a lot of different. The Marvel universe is insane, right, Brianna? I know you know that. From so many, but those are the two that really pop up in my head for sure. Either Iron Man or Spider-Man.
So awesome.
So I did a Marvel marathon last weekend. I watched like 5 from the beginning because my 15-year-old wants me to get into Marvel, and we're watching WandaVision now. So she literally started me at the very beginning. I watched Iron Man 2.
Oh my goodness.
Thor, and
a lot
Avengers.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm in your world now. I get it.
She's in it.
I get it.
She's in it right now. I've seen some of them. They're good. They're good. But
a lot. I'm obsessed now. It's kind of
So
weird
good.
that it
So
took me this long. Like it took me a while to get on this Marvel train. I'll tell you that.
Well, you're on now.
I'm on.
So.
I'm on the train.
You know, my wife's very lucky because if we had I had a daughter, by the way, right? So if we had a son, like literally the room would just be all like Marvel. And not to say like a girl could have like Marvel room too, right? But that would just be the ultimate excuse. Like, hey, he's a guy. Let's put all Incredible Hulk and be all green or something, right? So
So great.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It's been so great having you.
All right, EJ. Well, if our listeners wanted to come check you out and find your podcast, where do we send them?
If you're trying to reach me, probably Instagram is the best. It's Ejay Cruz. You can also listen to my podcast. If you just search The Parables, you will see it. It's in all directories. I'm on every platform aside from, I think, Pandora. Give it a listen. Let me know what you think. If you need help with podcasting, I'd be glad to help you. But otherwise, yeah, you could reach me there. Instagram would probably be the best bet to reach out to me.
We'll make sure too when this goes out that we get everything connected so that people know where to find you and all that good stuff. So thanks for telling us where to send them. This has been fun.
It's been
awesome.
amazing.
It's been
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you for being here, and we appreciate you. And thank you for your fire.
100%.
Oh, thank you. It's so much fun. And again, I appreciate what you guys do. I love, again, seeing this from the other side. You guys, this is an amazing show. If you guys are not subscribed to this show, please do so already. I'm a big fan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we do want to say to our listeners, of course, if you enjoy our show, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook, and check us out on YouTube and hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely. And don't forget to go over to startergirlswithaz.com where you can pick up your freebie and let us help you up-level those decision-making skills. Also, we're hosting our first virtual workshop together, From Mindset to Execution. You can check out that workshop at found.ee/M2E, Mindset to Execution. This is all about empowering creative entrepreneurs to get them closer to their goals, life and business. So we want to invite you to be a part of it.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yes.
Excited. All right. Well, we're going to leave you guys with a couple final thoughts. And I think this one's going to fit so well with everything EJ has said today. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And that is by Steve Jobs.
Yes.
All right. And as I always say, I say, and I'm lost my train of thought here. In order to have success, you must start. And every start begins with a decision. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.